it's gonna look a little scuffed, but I mean, this is just what we got for what we were dealing with. Not gonna play this type of music. So believe it or not, when I when I am teaching in my college classes, I actually play lo-fi music in the background. So I I will actually play lo-fi music in the background of my class because I feel like it makes the awkward silence. Because sometimes I'll be like, "I have a question," and like I'll ask a question of some kind, and unfortunately, being in person, there's more nerves and it's more stressful in certain ways. And some students don't want to ask something because they also don't want to look stupid. So, and the problem is like I am very of the opinion the only stupid question to ask is the one that you don't ask. There are technically some obvious like baits or obvious like quote unquote you're trolling. But if it's like genuine, like you genuinely are like, I truly do not understand this, I would like to know, then it's fine. You're paying two? Huh. I wonder what that was like. That sounds spooky. So, we're going to jump into it and we're going to see how much y'all want to keep going. So, I basically have two parts to the lecture. Okay. I have the day one that I normally would do for this class. Technically, day one is actually like a syllabus day where we kind of just talk about classes and stuff. Or like talk about the syllabus and like explain the class and maybe do a lecture. But I kind of like having the syllabus day personally because that was my favorite day when I was in college. But Mr. Pilot, you forgot your pencil. Oh no! Good thing you're on a keyboard right now. Fun fact: taking written notes is actually significantly better for your memory. Significantly better. The reason why it's because when you're writing, it's as if you're transcribing it in your brain. While if you're typing, because you're typing all the things separately, it doesn't transcribe the same way. Can I still mess around? No, you're fine. This is different because I'm talking about my class. What happens in my classes, right? Just also if y'all are being goofy, you gotta understand. Sometimes I may not read it out loud while we're in little lecture mode. Let's just go ahead and start. Let's jump in. So, this is COM 100. To start off, I actually have, because you're here for the first one especially, there's a bonus question of the day. The question of the day is, what is something humans should have never invented? Here's the caveat. You cannot pick something that is quote unquote evil or bad or like something that causes like mass amount of loss of life or pain or punish, like something like that. So like for example, you can't be like, oh, a torture device. That's obviously a bad thing. I picked the Emoji Movie. The Emoji Movie was a terrible movie. I did not watch it personally, so I guess I can't truly judge it, but I don't think I have to. It was playing off of cultural norms, and it was trying to write off of the fact that people liked emoticons or emojis, and terrible, terrible idea, terrible execution. It had a weird voice cast, to my knowledge, as well. So that is my pick for what is something not objectively evil that humans should have never invented. Photography? What is that? Twitter? That's a pretty good one. Excuse me, it is X. EVs, electrical vehicles? That's a good answer. Most people don't realize a battery is really bad. Question of the day is, what is something that humans should have never invented that's not objectively evil? Or like, it was created to do harm, if that makes sense. Paper tissues. Cloth? Toilet paper, though? I don't know, dog. Plastic. That's my answer, too, is plastic. Giant trucks, Perms is a hairstyle. Oh, Kleenex. Okay, okay, okay. Sweeteners. Okay. What's up, Dorm? How are you? Nose stuff and hand stuff. Hmm. Yes, Bear. Ourselves. It's pretty deep. Pretty deep. I have no clue skills about the regulation. Shoes. I don't know about that. The internet's pretty. That would be interesting. I would say social media is another good answer. In general, I would say personalized social media. Personalized social media. But yeah, so literally in my college classes, I will ask a question of the day. So this is the example of the question of the day that I would ask for my class. So let's go ahead and hit the first technical real slide. Also, I'm gonna temporarily try to move the chat lower. Or put it above my head. There's chat. Chat box. There we go. Okay. Here. Gotta figure out the fish now. Give me 1 second. I gotta grab the fish wherever it's hiding. Too many little tabs over here. I have to figure out how to organize this better someday. Where are you hiding, fish? You got something there? Where are you hiding us? What I named you freaking Lurkbait. Sorry, I'm trying to find this little fish thing so I can move it. There we go, finally. Shrink it down and move it over there. All right. Ooh, now we're good. Now we're good. All right. So, win free points. Oh, God. Okay, Bear. No more asking for free points. Grim, you're gonna have to call in your alt soon here. Bear's catching up to you. So, what is communication? There's this definition of communication. Communication is a systemic process of interaction through and with symbols to create and interpret meanings. So, let's break down some of the words in this whole definition to help make this make more sense. Process means that it's ongoing or in motion. So, something that's important about communication studies is that it is a constant or ongoing process. It's never ending. So, it doesn't stop. So, communications or talking, communicating is always happening. So, not to sound like cringe or whatever, but calling something fire or saying that's fire, like saying the food was fire, like that was so fire. That's a new terminology, newish lingo terminology that did not exist a decade ago. So people, it's ongoing, it keeps going, it's a continuous thing. It's systemic, it exists in multiple systems. So you, for example, exists within multiple systems. Think about wherever you live, you can keep zooming out. Like, for example, okay, I'm dumb. How does the UK work? So I live in London. Am I in like a district in London? Is that how it works? I have no clue how London geography or like the UK geography or that kind of stuff works. Or like I live in Germany. Yeah, I'm asking you all. I mean, I don't know. Some of you all live in the UK, so you would know better than me. Different boroughs within London. Okay. Districts is fine. London is a city. Well, okay. So, for example, in London, I imagine north, south, east, and west region of London are probably different from each other in terms of how people act or how people do things. So you exactly. So you're confirming. So, if you're from East London, that is one system that you are in. And then it's zoom out. You're from London though, zoom out. The UK, zoom out in this decade, in this year. So there are multiple systems that you exist in when you are communicating. Symbols are verbal and nonverbal things that we say. Germany depends on provinces. Okay. Okay. A lot of y'all from Germany. That's cool. That's cool. Wait, how many of y'all? Press one if you're from Germany. You don't have to if you don't want to. So verbal and nonverbal communication is, or sorry, symbols are nonverbal. Hello. Symbols are both verbal and nonverbal. So verbal are the words that we say. So here's the thing: if I say go to the store, there generally speaking is not a place called the store. There actually, okay, my friend. Let's not actually speak German though in the chat. Sorry, because I can't speak German. But there's no the store. When you say it, you probably with your friends, your family, wherever you live, whoever you live with, there's just a consistent place that you go to, and that is now the store that you consistently go to. So that is a verbal symbol. It's something that represents something else. Same with like using the word government. Okay. If I say government, government's a symbol. There's like technically you can't touch it. What is a government? Is it the person that works in it? Is it the buildings? I don't know. Like you can't really touch them. It's not a thing. It's just an idea. It's a concept. So symbols are verbal things that we do that represent bigger things. Nonverbal are again things that we have. So as silly as it is, but the emojis or the emotes on Twitch are an example of symbols. They don't say any words on them technically, but they represent ideas or they represent things. Like, for example, the little angry bird obviously is very different and distinctly symbolizing something different from the little heart bird. See? But that is a verbal symbol in a way. It's not verbal in that it's being said, but it is verbal in that there's words on it that you can see. Right? See, just because it's an emoji does not mean it's not a verbal symbol. It just means that it's a higher chance that it's probably a nonverbal symbol. Meaning is the content and the relationship that we have towards these words, towards these things. And the thing is different places, different locations, different contexts create vastly different meaning towards words. The United States has a very different relationship towards words like freedom than maybe some other countries do. Or like they have a different relationship towards words, like other countries may have a different relationship towards words and what family means. Things like that. Chips, sure. It's a great example. Chips in the US and the UK, very different. So that's kind of like combining the definition all together. Why is communication valuable, or why should we care? It's good for our personal identity and health. More communication is good for us. Studies have shown that if we communicate more, we not only understand more about ourselves, but we can have better health, identity, etc. It's good for relationship values as well, because we can have stronger bonds and friendships. We're able to communicate effectively or well with friends and family. Your relationship values become stronger. It's also good for professional values. It's one of the most sought after traits by businesses. Is the exchange of information not about, well, you could say that's a professional value. That's a part of it, right? The thing is professionally, it's a sought after trait because truthfully, most people are afraid of communication. They do not like publicly communicating. So the thing is because of that, if you're good at it or if you can do it well, then you will stand out significantly when you're trying to pursue a career, regardless of what the career is. Because the thing is, unfortunately, whether you like it or not, you have to do an interview, most likely for a job. It's also important for cultural values because if we can communicate effectively, we can understand how to communicate well with other cultures and we can understand better how we can communicate appropriately and contextually. So, where's my little PowerPoint? Boom. There's models of communication. I'll kind of briefly go through this. This is like the old model. This is how they looked at or viewed. Communication has gotten way worse post COVID, way worse because things became very virtual. So, post COVID, communication and interpersonal skills have gone significantly down. Like social media already was putting it on a very strong downturn. COVID just hyper launched it. Also, hopefully I can say that word. But I don't know what Twitch rules or YouTube rules are, whatever. But so there's a linear model of communication that they used to have. This was the formal model that they used to use. So the linear model basically said that there was a source, message, channel, receiver, and noise. So the source is the public speaker who's trying to reach the audience. Technically, I'm the source. The message is the speech itself. That's the words that I'm saying that I'm trying to reach to you, or the things that's on the PowerPoint. The channel is how you're receiving it. You're receiving a visual and auditory message. Now, technically, if you don't have access to one of those, like maybe you're blind, then obviously you can only have access to one of the channels. The receiver is you, the audience member, or the person who's getting the message. Noise is any interference with the message. So anything that can possibly interfere with you properly understanding or hearing the thing is noise. Literally, if someone's doing construction outside of your house or you're trying to have a conversation with someone and there's construction, that's noise. Someone has a loud television on, that's noise. You know, other things too internally. Did you just go through a really terrible breakup? That's noise. You're probably not going to be able to focus or listen very well to whatever conversation follows. You know, you're just going through a terrible breakup. It's probably going to be hard to hear the conversation your roommate's talking about the fact that their dog, like, you know, took a whiz on their shoes or something. Because of the profile of your high school. What do you mean by that, Ty? Now, they kind of changed or adopted the model of communication. They basically said that it became a constant interaction. They looked at it differently. First, they introduced the idea of feedback. So, feedback. So, originally, when speakers presented, if they gave their speech well and the audience didn't receive it well, they basically applies that feedback is noiseless, maybe. But basically they were just like, meh, it was their fault that they didn't do things right, like the audience didn't listen. But then obviously they realized, okay, we have to actually take into consideration the feedback of the audience or the receiver. And then another idea came in mind, or they realized the importance of context. So time, place, and conditions are very important. If you're talking early in the morning, middle of the afternoon, late at night, it all changes the context. Yeah, you're fine. No worries with 5. We're gonna do content warning soon. I just have been talking about this for forever. So the time, place, and condition. What time of day? The place is also important. Are you on the side of a road? Or are you talking in a classroom? Or in this situation, are you on like some Twitch stream? Sure, that can fall under context too. You can get more further into audience analysis. That can definitely be a part of context that can be taken here. You know, are you in front of experts or are you in front of average people that don't know? And the conditions, you know, what are the conditions? You could loop the audience under that. What are the conditions of the audience? What are the conditions of you, the environment, the room? Did the AC break? Maybe that. What do you mean by subtext? You know, maybe that would play into the effect. Source and receiver was kind of the evolution of the model, where the idea is it's constant interaction. In this kind of setting, it's a little different because my interaction or response is based off of like text, so I'm reading text. But in like a classroom, just a simple like head nod from a student or them being like, huh? Like giving a confused face. Yeah, no worries, no worries. No worries, skills. We'll be done soon. We have a few more slides to go. So it became a constant interaction. The idea of identity management is very important in the world of communication. This is not a common American thing, but this, oh my, Grim. 2 electric boo. You need more alts, I see on his. My full time on Twitch and YouTube. We're very far from that, my friend. But you never know. I am totally cool though, living the teacher life and Twitch streaming on the side. So with identity management in the US, they don't say this as much, but face is a very important concept. You have a public and a private face. I argue you have a personal face. It's kind of like a third one. But identity management basically says that public face is how you act in front of your boss. It's how you act in front of your teacher or maybe someone that has an authority over you that you care about. Yeah, people have multiple faces though. You can have multiple public and multiple private faces, but primarily there's the public and the private. Public is how you act in front of the customer, in front of your boss. Private is how you shit talk the customer or how you act with your friends. So, howdy, Marshall. It's pretty useful concept, pretty useful stuff when it comes to having or understanding how you manage yourself. I say there's a personal face where you basically act with your very close friends and or maybe someone that you're in a relationship with. So yeah, I like that hundo. One for the world, one for friends and family, and one for yourself. I would say yourself maybe can extend out a little bit. Howdy. See you, Marshall. Public and private seem to only work as categories in specific contexts. Maybe, Matt. But that's just one way to understand it. Finally, there's some revolutions that happened in technology that changed the world. These are mostly from an American. These are mostly from an American context, but these are just a couple of events that were impactful. FDR announcing that the war is over was a radio broadcast that was global, basically reached the whole world. So information was able to travel significantly quicker than it ever was before. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech that was televised to millions of Americans was able to basically have emotion and ideas cause change in like large social change that shouldn't have happened very soon. This is like the last slide. Large social change that could have happened, or not could have, that did happen. Oh no, Ty. Y'all may not know this, but those two people, that is JFK and Nixon. This is the first televised debate in the United States. Because I teach to an American audience, so it helps. I mean, hey, I'd be down to know other cultural things that happened. Because these are just things that happened in American, like, technological speech. Obviously, I just don't put American there. But, what's up, Kai? We're almost done with our little lecture here. So the first televised debate in America. Half my audience is German right now, currently. It changed. It was interesting. People who listened to the debate thought that Nixon won. People who watched the debate thought that JFK won. And the reason why is because JFK was trained. He was, a trained actor, was used to the heat, the environment. Nixon, on the other hand, was not used to this environment, so he looked pale and ghostly on screen. Finally, this one definitely has way more global application. Social media. Social media drastically changed the world in terms of who can have access to the information or who is able to basically have a microphone, because now people, quote unquote, normal people are able to significantly change the world, or they're able to share a message, or hundreds and millions of people can now hear something. Now, there's obviously a downward spiral of things, right? We have problematic situations where there's echo chambers, where people are just constantly talking to themselves, basically. That's obviously not good. We have other situations where people get in like hate situations and like hate brews. Hate content's like really popular right now, and all that's a bummer. But at the same time, there's really cool positives and really cool pros. The amount of information that the average person has access to now is insane compared to what basically the kings of the past would have access to. I think it is a twofold. I think it's idiocracy, where it's a lot of people are being subjected to the internet and not understanding stuff, and I think it is very hard for people to also, like you said, Matt, to get access to good information. I think problem is we don't really train or teach people like how do you figure out if something is accurate or if you can trust something, and that's probably causing some pain, unfortunately. But that's all for today.